We got week 2 of college, so we've seen a bunch of teams with a week under their belt, and of course, week 1 of NFL action. The season opened up last night. Not exactly as planned, but I think those people that had the Buccaneers as their survivor pool pick pretty happy. I think that's exactly like when you have a survivor pool team. That's exactly how you want them to go. A game where they didn't really cover the spread, they just won. Right? That's exactly how you draw it up. Joe, you ready for some football?
Yeah, I can't wait for football tonight, tomorrow, Sunday. We're back. It's a good feeling.
It feels like it's back, right? And I think what we see generally early in the season here is a lot of people kind of take football for granted. At least in the past they have. And, this year, I think it's going to be a little bit more intensive because the fans are back. I'm already seeing it. Normally, people, it's like, oh, it's week 3, and people are like, oh, they started already, especially when they used to start on Labor Day from the NFL. People are like, oh, they started already? It was like, yeah, they started already. Now it was like, people were waiting, and, it was super positive, I thought, last week.
Absolutely.
Week 0, and even the preseason this year, there was more buzz than we've seen in recent years. So
yeah, and last night didn't disappoint at all. It wasn't a slow game at all.
No,
it was fantastic.
And the thing is, I've been super critical of the NFL and the way that they've, watered down the game as far as commercials and things of that nature. But outside of a weird taunting call or something, we didn't really see anything that really was outside of the, the things that I generally complain about, which are ticky-tack interference and blocking calls or, unnecessary roughness calls, that ticky-tack calls. We didn't see a lot of those. We didn't see, like a sharp reduction in overall plays throughout the game. Yeah. And a lot of that has to do with the pace that Tampa took it at. So like what we've seen in recent years is the clock has shrunk in the games because it's running, instead of stopping the way it used to. Mm-hmm. And then we'll see like, that's why the way I describe it is when I was a kid, the early game started at 1 o'clock. The late game started at 4 o'clock. I lived in Miami, so we were on Eastern time zone. And it was never an issue. It was never an issue, right? There wasn't game plan and all these other things where you can get all the games like you can now. But still, it was never an issue. Then all of a sudden, they went from the half times being 15 minutes to 12 minutes. Yeah. Then they went from a 30-second play clock that stops when a guy goes out of bounds or an incomplete pass to a 40-second continuous running play clock. All these things meant to speed up the game, yet the early game's still starting at 1 o'clock. Now the late game's at 4:25 p.m. Yeah. Now, where did all this time go, right? Where did all this time go? But last night, it did not feel that way at all.
No, it didn't.
It
not
felt
at all.
like, a legitimate, like, wow, I can't believe it's still the first quarter,
Yeah.
It was great. I really liked it.
Absolutely. What did you think of the reffing last night? Were you happy with it?
I thought I've seen a lot worse. A lot worse. My complaint about football is always the worst calls are not reviewable, right? So it's True. Like the worst ones, like the very worst calls, the bad, non-call on the hold that's not a hold, the pass interference that's not pass interference, those type of calls that really affect the game.
Yeah. Was it a push-off last night?
Yes.
In that one play?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I would have been very upset if I was a Cowboys fan last night.
It's the nature of the beast, and they'll get calls that go that way. And they had, one of the greatest push-offs wins of all time when Drew Pearson pushed over Nate Wright in Minnesota, like in the early 70s. So I think the Cowboys, have had their share of good calls throughout the years.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought in the college games last week that we saw the teams were ready to play as well. I thought the quality of play was really good in most of the games that I saw. It did, in college, you see generally a little bit more rust. You see there's a lot of transition, obviously, from year to year in college, but we saw teams ready and fired up and ready to go in front of the fans. And, obviously Alabama looked just like a machine. Ohio State looked a little rusty, definitely a team that could use a little work.
Their defense looked rusty. Definitely rusty.
So, I think that, this week we'll learn a lot more about these teams and about what's going on with them. And we've already seen some sharp line movement as well.
We have.
For this week. So, we've gone over tonight's games. We did that this morning, but, and tomorrow, of course, we're going to have our college football show. That's, it's a regular 10 o'clock show, but it's Saturdays. We call it our college football show, right? And then Sunday we'll have our NFL show, which is normally just our Sunday 10 o'clock show that we do, right?
Yeah.
Joe, we used to have the show at 10:30. Like we've tried different times. We've had an 11 o'clock show. We've had the 10:30 show. And sometimes like with the daylight savings, we'll move the show, from 10 to 11. We've tried that before too, because where I live, the clocks don't move. They don't change. So the show goes from 5 a.m. to 4 a.m. for me. So we early. We move it back, but then other people try and slide in our 10 o'clock spot. So I feel, I got to take it back. I'm not going to give them that's my spot. I'm not giving it to them.
Right. And we need to get up early. Start the day off right.
So it's talking about starting the day off right. We have 2 early games tomorrow, one at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So we're going to be on the air when the game kicks off.
Yeah.
And the other one starts at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. And that was Western Kentucky Army at 11:30 a.m. Illinois, Virginia. Illinois just has to keep playing. After this game, a quarter of their games for the season will be completed. It's only September. It'll only be September 11th.
Wow. That's crazy to think of. This line has moved a lot. Virginia opened at a 13-point favorite. They're down to 10 and a half. I'm seeing just 10 and a halves everywhere.
Yeah, I saw
110. I got excited.
I have seen some 10s out there. It bounced off of 10. And is back to 10. If there is 110, it's Caesars. I'm showing a 10.
Okay.
So right now.
And we're seeing this total climbing too. It opened at 52 and a half, and I'm seeing 56 in places.
I honestly don't think Illinois is as bad as, I think they're going to be up and down. I'm not a big Brett Bielema guy, but I don't think Illinois is as bad as people are putting them out to be. They lost last week, so we're not. They're not going to win the national championship, right? They're not going to win the Big Ten. No. They're not going to do any of those things, but they're going to be better than they were. I mean,
absolutely.
Last year, you think, right? And then
I think they will. I definitely think they will. So Western Kentucky and Army.
Yeah, that's
this one.
That's the other one. That starts early. I don't know. I once again another line mover.
Yeah.
It opened at 5. We see 5.5s and 6s right now on the board.
I think this total's getting pretty low though. It's pushed down from 56.5 down to 51.5. I'm seeing at FanDuel.
So Army, the reason why the totals are low in Army games is because they generally will just hang on to the ball and they go for it on 4th down a lot. 4th and short, and they're good at converting in those situations. So it definitely prolongs the game. Do you think
owning that time of possession?
Do you think either of these games are like places where it's like, jump in now, or you think, because for me these are probably not games I'm rushing to the window to bet. At least not right this second, but tonight, who the hell knows? By the time I go to bed, I could have 7 dimes on the thing. I mean, it's happened before.
Exactly.
I'm the guy
That's why people need updates on this stuff. What you're doing, Mitch?
Absolutely. We're going to have a new product for people where they'll be able to get bets from us or picks from us based on line movement and where lines are at. And I think this is really a home run type thing. This is the type of thing where it's like, I talk about all the time in my videos about getting the best line possible. Well, this is getting the best line at the best time is what this one is about. And Joe is spearheading the whole thing, so it's going to be awesome. It's basically...
Of course it is. It's sprinkle my mojo on it.
Exactly. So it's going to be something, it's going to be in-game betting as well as line movements. Yeah. And, something that, we'll be on top of, and we'll be able to send you that information. And it's like, it ends up being like, I think it's like $15 a week or something.
Yeah, so, absolutely. It's going to be great, guys, because if we're all of a sudden looking at lines and going,
$20 a
look
week?
At this.
How much is it? We should charge like $50 a week.
50 a week?
I don't think so.
You're the boss.
I think Joe said it's like less than $20 a week. She already said
it's less than $20 a week.
I have this argument with Brian all the time. He always tries to cut the prices on stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm always
I can tell you it's way cheaper than my Starbucks every day for a month.
Yeah,
that's
it is.
for sure.
But that's just something we're going to have. It's like if you want it, you get it. If you don't want it, well, we got free stuff. We have other premium stuff, whatever. But it's...
Well, not everyone likes those updates. They like to put in their bets once a week. But for anyone that wants those updates, wants any information that we're seeing that we're going, okay, we're jumping on this right away, that's the kind of information you're going to get.
Yep. Scotty making a comment there that Joe Madden gives good picks. She absolutely does. That's why she's here. I know that, we've gone through introductions with a lot of people already, and, Sunday, I believe we'll have to reintroduce Joe because we'll have a different crowd, but Joe's not here to be Vanna White and turn letters. That's for sure. She's here to give picks, and she's been taking names since she's got here. She'll be a capper on the site. We don't have her set up yet, but you can get her picks through the premium area, through our premium YouTube and our, VIP YouTube, and she's been just knocking the cover off the ball with picks in there. So you can imagine what her premium picks are going to be like for a slate of NFL games or something. It's crazy. That's why she's my partner in the Westgate and Circa contest.
Oh, we're going to crush it. I am so excited for this. I can't wait to win. I do want the blue jacket, though. That's the deal.
Yeah, you could have the blue jacket. I wonder if they give you 2 blue jackets. For my country club that I belong to, which I belong to the country club, nobody at the club will play with me, but that's a whole nother story. And it's like, I'm not like one of the guys hanging out at the club or anything like that. I play golf. I go, I leave. It's like, they have my cart waiting in my parking spot. I get out, I get in my cart. It's like, then they drop me off. It's like, I don't even see anybody else at the place, but I have a white jacket that they give you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's never been worn.
I would be a disaster in that. I drink coffee all day long.
Oh, it's never been worn. It's never been worn. I have a locker that's never been opened except to put the white jacket in.
So the jacket sits there, crisp and clean.
Yes, I'm going to guess it is. I haven't been there to check on it, but I have one.
I like it.
My white blazer. Actually, they took it, but it wasn't even mine. They give you, they have a bunch of them that they have lying around, and then they put it on you to take your picture that they put on the wall of all the different people that are in the club. Yeah. So
sounds good.
Alphabetically, so I'm at the end. Oh, not near any of the cool people.
Oh, that's too bad. So what other games are you looking at when we look ahead?
Well, when we look at the early part of the schedule, this Ohio State-Oregon game, obviously a featured game here, probably not going to be a premium pick for me because there's just some question marks around the game with the status of Thibodeau. And he is their best player for Oregon, defensive end, and he is a difference maker.
I'm hearing whispers he'll play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he will.
He will. They're just trying to make us take Ohio State again, with the points. Against the points, yeah.
Yeah, he's listed.
You know what I mean.
He's listed as questionable. There's a lot of players listed as questionable for Oregon. They have some guys that were suspended for that other game that will be eligible for this game magically, and Ohio State has some guys that are out as well. So to me, it's an odd game though because Oregon is a West Coast team now having to play a noon kickoff on the East Coast, which is kind of unfair.
That is. I didn't even think of that. That is pretty unfair of them.
They do that to the West Coast teams. They'll play them, at noon on the East Coast times. Yeah,
that's a hard one for sure. Yeah, this line opened at Ohio State, the favorite by 11.5, up to 14.5 now. I'm going to tell you guys, the over looks pretty nice, 63.5. It has moved up. It was a 58.5 open, but I'm still seeing a lot of points with these two teams.
I think for me, I'm rooting for Oregon. And
the Ducks.
Joe's a Buckeye fan, but
you know what? I love the Ducks too, though. So this is a hard one for me because I really like the Ducks. They gave me Justin Herbert. How could I not love him?
The Dolphins gave you Justin Herbert by not drafting him. but
absolutely idiot move right there. Right.
We actually it was during COVID, so we covered the draft live because we had nothing else to do, and I was livid, at the time. It's usually pretty much a typical Dolphin draft night for me, where it's just like, what the hell? The worst Dolphin draft night, and the biggest gift they ever gave the Chargers was the year that they took Jamar Fletcher at a cornerback when they desperately needed a quarterback, and Drew Brees was on the board, who the Chargers took.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy what they do.
Now I'm salty all over again. I was so mad.
It's okay.
I'm a season ticket holder, and they always call me. Is there anything we can do for you? It's like, how about
draft right?
Who made that? Who's responsible for that pick? Can you put him on the phone? And then there was the Ryan Tannehill pick. I didn't like that one. I didn't like just a bunch I didn't like.
Yeah, there's some questionable picks out there. So, but we'll see.
I'm excited, but I am excited to see Thibodeau up against Ohio State. I hope he's 100%, and I just like seeing the best against the best. And Ohio State has great defensive linemen. They built a really strong history with the Boza brothers and Chase Young. In recent history, they've put out the best of the pass rushers. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see Thibodeau, who's seen as the best this year.
Absolutely,
he's a guy that could be number 1 overall in the NFL draft. He's that. He's the guy.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I wouldn't be looking at a blowout win for this, especially if he's in. So
I'm a big Mario Cristobal guy. He played at Miami and won the national championship there. So I'm big on him. So there's some cupcakes in here. You like these cupcake games. Is this something that the lines aren't out, but one of them there is. Michigan State against Youngstown State is one of these cupcake games that's in there. But actually one of the early games that I was looking at was Miami of Ohio against Minnesota with Ibrahim out for Minnesota now. That's a gigantic loss because I really thought he was their best player, for me, the running back Ibrahim. And he's gone for the season now.
Absolutely. What's the line on that one? There's so many games on the board. I'm just trying to find it here.
I showed it at 18. It opened at 20.5. I really liked it in that 19 range.
Yeah.
When I did the video for this game, it was 19, and it was 19 this morning. When I was looking at it, now I see 18. So
you think 18 falling? So what are you gonna do? You gonna go with it, even with the movement?
Well, I'm already have my bets in, so it's like I will just bet. See, the way that I do my bets, everyone asks me this all the time.
Yeah.
How do you do your bets? I look at the board. I start handicapping, right? And I look, and I just go through them all, and I say, all right, here's my list. Then I go through my list again, and I say, okay, here's my real list.
Yeah.
At that point, I place a bet on everyone on my list. Then I go through
all the same.
All the same.
Yeah.
Then I go through the list again, and I pick out the ones I like the best out of that list, and then I bet them again. And then I go through again. And the same thing. I pick out the best of those.
Yeah.
And I bet them again. And that's how I get to my 3-2-1, right, on my units. But I'm never capped there. I don't have like this great money management scheme of this percentage of my bankroll or anything like that. I have no problem going all in if I really like the situation, at least as far as my current bank. I'm not all in everything I own type thing, but all in with my, with what resources I have that aren't already working or, is a reasonable number. I've been known in Vegas to be in the sportsbook with no money in my pocket and no access to cash whatsoever.
On purpose? Your wife took it all away?
No, so the last time it's happened to me a bunch of times, but here's an example. So Michigan State opened against Boise a few years ago, and it was one of those night games, and I had Boise, and the world was on Michigan State in that game. They had Le'Veon Bell, and so I said to the person I was with, my old business partner, I said, every time I hear somebody mention Michigan State in the line or at the window, if they say it loud enough, I'm going to put another $100 on Boise.
Wow.
So I ran out of money. I had no money at all. I had to borrow money to tip the waitress. I had a box of Cheez-Its because I had a room at the Signature, which is like a suite, so I had groceries delivered. So I had my backpack with, so I had some Cheez-Its. And then I had a couple bucks that I borrowed to tip the waitress, and that was it. And then they took the knee at the goal line. Oh, it was just best. It was like, one of those games where Michigan State was right there, ready to cover the spread.
I'm glad when.
And then they took a knee.
Yeah.
And Boise covered. It was
wow.
It was great. It's
That's phenomenal.
It's one of those ones
phenomenal for you, terrible for everyone else.
Right. You don't want to cheer too loud.
No. Oh God, no. Get murdered. Stuff like that.
That's I struggle watching games like that, especially fans. With fans because I normally have some serious interest in it. But I like Miami of Ohio here. I think they definitely have a puncher's chance. They did not look good last week against Cincinnati, which I think was creating some value in the line, and that's why I thought there was value there. I mean, they got stomped by Cincinnati last week in a game that I thought they were going to hang.
Yeah, so this one, definitely, if people want to get on it right away, because I'm seeing as low as 17.5 at some books. So you could get them at plus 17.5, but you could get them at plus 18.5 on others. So
yeah, Minnesota coming off that feature,
Miami, Ohio.
That feature game on Thursday night with the push, right? Or Joe won, but a lot of people pushed, and it was 13.5, 14, right? So a lot of people saw that. So I thought, there was value there, but 17.5. Now we start, getting into it. But I still like it there. PJ Flex generally fairly conservative.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, that's one I would jump on right away if you want it, just with how it's all over the place with all of these books.
Oklahoma State was terrible last week in their game. They were absolutely stinkers, and Tulsa really was worse. They were played.
Tulsa.
They lost. They lost to UC Davis.
Yeah.
In that game, but Oklahoma State was terrible in their game, just absolutely horrible. I believe. Who did they play? They played someone really bad. I watched a little bit of it. Missouri State. They were favored by 33.5. They won by 7. So they didn't even score 33.5.
No.
They had 23.
Yeah, and was Tulsa a high-scoring one? I don't think Tulsa put up many points either. We've got a total of 51 in this.
1917. They were 21.5-point favorites against FCS. UC Davis lost outright. That was a Joe Madden game. That's your style of game right there.
It is. That totally is.
That's right in your wheelhouse.
I like these off-the-board ones where no one else is looking at them.
Brian was when we first brought you on, Brian was like, I think she'll be all right, whatever. And all of a sudden she starts wheeling out these underdog FCS teams. Brian's like, oh, my God, this is the best day of my life.
Oh, yeah, because he doesn't like what's it called?
Square, the fillet of fish.
Fish fillets, yeah.
Yes.
I will not be a fish fillet. That's for sure.
So to me right now, I'm leaning Tulsa. I'm a little less convinced because it is Tulsa. And, Oklahoma State, obviously, probably a rough week of practice. Mike Gundy can be that way. So I'm kind of back and forth. So Florida plays South Florida. South Florida was terrible against. And if I'm missing games that you want to talk about, if I'm missing games you want to talk about, just throw them out, as well. I'm just kind of moving us down the list.
Yeah. But no, they struggled like crazy against North Carolina State.
They were terrible.
Right? 45-0.
Yeah.
Completely shut out.
Terrible.
Quarterback issues galore.
On the other side of it, Florida up by 21 with 50 seconds left to go in the game on the 50-yard line, throwing balls into the end zone.
Yeah.
In that one. Here's a chance for Dan Mullen to run it up. He's on the road at South Florida here, but, we saw South Florida just have no answers. Really bad quarterback play by NC State, too. It didn't matter. I was getting Ron Romanelli was sending me the messages. It's like, we're dead on NC State because the quarterback stinks. And it's like, nah, these guys are really bad. They're just terrible.
Yeah, really bad. Yeah, that's one. Yeah, the Gators take this one.
I think so, too.
Cover easy.
So we got a few more here. We got Wyoming and Northern Illinois, Virginia Tech, Middle Tennessee, Syracuse, Rutgers, Ohio, Duquesne. Any of these? Notre Dame, Toledo. let's see what the lines are done. So the Notre Dame line has dropped from 18.5 to 17. But to me, I like the over in that game, 55.5. Toledo has a pretty wide open offense, and we saw Notre Dame's defense look suspect last week, and they had some big injuries there. They have a short week. Do. They also have a short week of practice after playing on Sunday last week. And Toledo, it's kind of their chance, to play against Notre Dame, right? At Notre Dame. It's a big game for them.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely is. Yeah, that opened at Notre Dame, 19.5-point favorites. You can get 16.5 now. I don't know. Toledo might just pull it out and cover.
Yeah, I like the over there. I just think there's going to be a ton of points. Let's take a look at what the money action. Notre Dame games are usually real tight to the number.
Yeah.
Let's see what the rotation number is. Like, my source is like the one that's easier to read and puts everything in time, has everything in one order, and then the other one, my other source where I'm looking at the line moves, has it in another order. So I'm trying to put it together. Let's see, Notre Dame is number 230. Notre Dame is 334. So we'll see what
334.
334. So the way the money is looking on Notre Dame right now, it's saying that 56% of the bets and 50% of the money is on Notre Dame. So it's inverted. On the money line, it's the other way, though. Wow, 62% of the money line bets are on Notre Dame, minus 17 points. What, it's got to be like minus 2,000 or something. Right?
Oh, why are people betting that?
I don't know.
People really need to learn not to bet.
I think they stick it in the parlay, like a
I guess so, and then it's going to count there. So, did the over hit in the Notre Dame Florida State game last weekend? That was 55.5. That went
way over.
Right?
Way over. Way over. So I think this one goes over too.
That's a good call.
So the other game that I'm looking at in this slot is that Virginia Tech Middle Tennessee, and it's not making a lot of sense the way the line is moving to me. It moved up a point from a 19-point open, but we know that Virginia Tech traditionally is a team that sort of falls flat on its face in this exact spot. Every year they have this spot against kind of this game that should be a layup for them, and then they just fall flat on their face. This is the team that loses pretty much almost every year to a team like Citadel. And this is really, to me, it looks like that game. I think Virginia Tech, to me, it looks to be in a little bit of trouble here. I think they could lose outright here too. 20-point home favorites.
You know what? That would be amazing dog money with Middle Tennessee State. I like it.
I might know.
That's worth a bottle of wine.
I might know someone that has some interest in that one.
Well, you know what? I am highlighting that one. I am actually going to put a bottle of wine on that tonight. I wouldn't put too much money on it, you guys.
No. It's not like bet your house mortgage type game, but it's one that it's kind of like it's worth a shot, because we've seen Virginia Tech fall in that spot. And despite, what they did last week, we know that Fuente is not a good coach, right? Because we've seen it year in year. One game does not make it that he had, 6 months to prepare for. This is the game that now, this is the one where you kind of get caught looking, because it's like you just had the big win. It's a letdown spot. And
absolutely,
it just seems to set up for it.
Yeah, absolutely is. Like, that's one thing I like to look at week 2 is fading those teams that had major wins, that they're coming into this week and they're kind of sleeping on the teams they're playing because they're off that high. Another interesting fact for the totals is we had 65% of the unders hit last week.
Wow. That's pretty solid. We've got about 100 people or so watching. If you guys want to smash that like button, I'd appreciate it. We got a hater out there smashing the dislike. So if you guys could smash that like, I guess I'm sure it's not you they don't like, Joe. I'll take full responsibility.
Well, they always say your hater's your biggest fan at the end of the day. They're one that's thinking of you most.
Yeah.
So,
in 2008, I got my first death threat online, and my mentor said, "Man, you're going to be gigantic." He's like, "You're going to be," he goes, "You're never going to have to worry about much ever again in life."
Absolutely.
And it's like, but Anyway, smash that like button. We certainly appreciate them. They don't cost you anything. Take you half a second. Help us a ton. If you're watching it on your cell phone, I can show you how to do it. It's not as straightforward. But let's see what we got. So you go to here. Pick dogs. They offer you the trial. Oh, there we were. All right, so here we go. And hit me with the... All right, so here we are right here. And you can see... Oh, crap.
Your phone die?
No, instead of hitting the volume down, I hit the... I turned my phone off.
Turn it off.
So what you do is you shrink, you see how you got it right here, and then you shrink the chat just like that. And then the buttons are right below it. So you see that? And you just hit the like button right here.
Yeah.
Just like that. And then you can go back. It says live chat. You just punch the button right there. It says live chat. Click on it.
Yeah. And you can share it too, you guys.
Right back. Yeah. Share it, like it, do whatever it takes. It's like we want Joe Madden to stay around.
We appreciate it so much.
She only stays for likes. That's not true. We're not sorry. She's already committed. We're not letting her go. You're stuck with us.
Yeah. I'm stuck with them whether I like it or not.
She's already given Bitler tip jokes, so it's like she's already in. It's like she wants to know. Like,
it's awesome.
Brian's getting a haircut.
So
it's like, we need to know the tip.
Absolutely need to know. I'm looking at this Air Force and Navy game. This is one of the games I want to play under, and one of the ones I think you should get now because I'm seeing this line dropping. Under 40.5. I know it's a low number, but it's going down to 40 in some places. I think jump on this now. These two teams know each other so well. They're going to play a tight run game, both under 40.5.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
And that's one I would do like right now because it's dropped since we've been watching it. When I saw it, it was like 40.5 across the board. Circa now has it at 40.
So a few of the other games that I've really been looking at in this time slot that are kind of the same way, which might move, is Buffalo, Nebraska. But this one is actually moving in the other direction. I like Buffalo here, and the money is coming in. At least the action is coming in on Nebraska, who's 14-point favorites here. This is kind of a must-win game for Nebraska at this point. Scott Frost could be fired on the sideline if they lost at home to Buffalo, but I'm not saying it couldn't happen because it certainly could. The other one around at the same time is Ball State plus the 22 at Penn State. James Franklin is one of the worst cover coaches in the history of college football. I'm not just saying like I had Penn State last week against Wisconsin. I had good faith in him there, but the fact that he covered last week makes the probability that he covers this week like next to zero. I mean, this guy, he's a great coach. He won at Vandy. I mean, no one wins at Vandy, right? This guy won at Vandy. It's like, but he can't cover a spread to save his life. And, getting 22 with this Ball State team that won the MAC championship last year, it just seems to be a hefty amount of points. I could see it falling just short because that's what James Franklin does.
Absolutely. I'm liking the over in this game. You can get it over 57.5 in some books, over 58 on others.
Penn State is a good team. They're, last year they started 0-5. So, they're trying to avoid that slow start again, but at the same time, like I said, Franklin not known for rolling it up and blowing them out.
No, that's for sure. We've got UAB in Georgia. I'm liking UAB to cover that
against Georgia. I think that's a tough one for me. I struggle with that game. I did the video and I struggled with it. What's your angle? Is it Georgia too much? Because we didn't see any offense from them at all last week.
Yeah, I don't think Georgia's going to come out and be able to do it. So I think UAB, if you're taking them plus the points, I think it's just it's going to be a game where they keep it tighter than these books think. We saw the line open at 29 on this Georgia favorite, drop down to 22.5 on some books now. I wish I got this one at open. You can get it 23.5 on a lot of books. I think their defense is okay at UAB. They did hold Jacksonville State to 156 yards on defense. So I think they can do this against this Georgia team that really they have a good defense, but we didn't see an incredible game out of them. I don't.
But they played Clemson and UAB not quite to the level of Clemson, not even close,
True.
right? They're not even the same.
Yeah, not even
the same thing. But I think the problem with me in this game is that the problem to me with this game right here is that you have the jerk factor in Kirby Smart. He's a jerk. He's one of those SEC jerk coaches that he's a drama queen, right? It's like it up by 40, and like a guy they call like, an illegal motion or illegal shift on a clear illegal shift, and he's like blowing a gasket. It's like he's just a drama queen. So I could see him kind of unloading there, on UAB and acting like they've done something.
That's true.
So
but
it's like,
do you think you'll kind of play more of a run game and like?
But the thing is, they have running backs that can go. They have guys. He has a top 5 recruiting class every year. So the thing about Georgia, Clemson, Alabama, these teams that a lot of people don't really look at is that. So every year they have a top 5 recruiting class, but every year they're also one of the top teams to lose players into the transfer portal, because most of the guys that go there have hopes of playing right away. They're getting only the top of the top players who were the star players of star players, not even on their team, but in their conference and in their district where they played high school football. So, and sometimes in their state, and they're expecting to play right away. And when they don't get to play right away, they end up transferring. A prime example for Georgia is Justin Fields. He was the top recruited player in the country. He signed with Georgia. He went to Georgia. He didn't get to play. It didn't look like he was going to get to play the next year behind Fromm, and he hit the transfer portal. He went to Ohio State, and the rest is history. But a guy like, they have so much talent on this team that even Justin Fields can't get out on the field. And he was I don't know what number player he was taken in the draft, but he's one of them. He was one of the guys in the first round, right? Yeah. So, he played in the national championship game last year, right? It's these are how good the Georgia players are, and I struggle there because I could see Georgia players taking it to the house on these guys, regardless of what plays they're calling. I think the quarterback play Georgia.
They do, or they sit their starters in the second half, and UAB gets a cover.
I know, but I could still see Kirby Smart like just throwing his hat and stomping his feet and right? This is what he does.
True.
This is what he does.
Very true.
He's jerk. Yeah. It's like jerk. It's like Dan Mullen throwing deep against Florida Atlantic. With 50 seconds left to go in the game, up by 21. I mean, you're a jerk.
Yeah. Absolutely. Does Georgia have anyone big on deck? I want to see who's next week.
They play the SEC, so they must have a fairly big schedule. We could take a look.
Yeah.
Those of you that are joining us a little late, I'm just here with Joe Madden. We're going to do this every Friday. Just go down the NFL and college football card. We're going to take our time, and 3:30 Eastern time, we're going to start thereabouts and kind of go down. We were going to do a half-hour college, half-hour NFL. I probably filibustered and wasted about 10 minutes at the beginning of the show, something you guys have all seen if you've ever seen me online before. So, happens. But we're going to do this every week and just kind of casually go through it before, a hardcore Saturday show and Sunday shows where, heavy hitting and, who's, we know what goes on in those games, on those shows.
We're going to have a lot of fun this weekend. I'm excited for it, for sure.
We will. I'm just checking Georgia's schedule real quick and seeing if they have a game next week. And if so, who it is. It's South Carolina, so a rivalry game next week against the Gamecocks at home. And you remember, was it 2 years ago? South Carolina knocked Georgia off. Or it might have been last year. They had like one.
I'm going UAB to cover. That just made it even stronger for me.
It is a little bit of a trap game, a little bit.
Yeah, 100% UAB. I can get them at plus 23.5 on Superbook. And yeah, there's a couple plus 23.5.
All right, I'm gonna avoid it, or I think I would take Georgia. I don't know. Because I know Kirby Smart, so it's like I've seen it a million times.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know you might be right. You could very, very well be right.
There's a lot of meat on the bone out here, so it's like I don't know.
Yeah. I know there's so many games you can bet, but I love these situations where these obvious winners, there's something that.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's a lot of games like that on this card.
Yeah.
This week's card. There's a lot of odd lines, and then there's a lot of favorites that are kind of big favorites based upon public perception, and that's one of them. You know,
absolutely.
That one, the Minnesota game, I feel is the same way. Texas A&M minus 17 against Colorado is another one of those games. Neutral site game. Pac-12 SEC matchup. 17 points for Colorado. This line has not budged an inch. It has opened at 17.
I'm taking Colorado.
It is, yeah, I am too. It stayed at 17. It opened at 17.
Yeah.
And when we look at the action here, 66% of the bets on Texas A&M under fairly heavy action.
Yeah.
And the line has not budged. I mean, if anything, there's a slight downward pressure on the VIG, if anything, which is odd considering the betting action.
It is, yeah. I'm going to take Colorado plus the points.
We should call this show just football betting talk. I think that's what it is.
Football betting
right?
talk.
It's kind of just, we could even get it, We could even have other people come on here and talk with us if we want to. Iowa State. So Iowa looked super impressive last week at home against Indiana, and now here they are, 4.5-point dog against Iowa State, who didn't play well last week.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I looked at this line and I thought it was flipped. It should be flipped, in my opinion.
Yeah. So is it one where somebody knows something, or are we gonna not bet Iowa and feel stupid for not betting them? It's like I don't know. It's if they're trying to scare me off, they're doing a great job.
I'm taking Iowa on the money line.
Good for you.
They've got good defense. They got 3 turnovers in the last game. A home dog. I'm taking them.
Good for you.
Right?
I would say good for you.
I think so. Right? And maybe I'll just I don't know. I love doing some underdog parlays, especially money line that's going to pay out majorly for a little bit of money.
If any of you guys who are watching or in the chat have any of these under the radar or off the off the beaten path picks, or line movement picks or any of those things like that, by all means, let us know.
Yeah, for sure. Iowa is 5-0 in the last 5 meetings between these teams.
Oh, I believe it.
Why is Iowa State the favorite? It makes no sense to me.
I'm not sure. It's odd. I'm looking for I always take pictures of my good bet tickets that I've had in Vegas when I'm out there. I had some really good Iowa ones, I know.
Yeah.
I had Iowa. My most recent I don't know how recent if it was my most recent big run, but I had a big run. It all started. I only had $300 in my pocket, and I bet it on Iowa money line against Ohio State getting 20 points. They were getting 20. They were plus 1,000 on the money line, and I hit it, and I turned that into $35,000. Rolling it over and rolling it over. Yeah, it was a hell of a good trip to Vegas.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that is definitely. I'm liking the under in this game too, you guys. When we look at, is it still at 46? I wrote it down before at 46 for a total.
Yes. 46.5.
Yeah.
46.5.
46.5. Yeah, I would jump on this as well, because when we look at the under between these two teams, it's 13-2 for the past 15.
So this is one you could shop. I see some 46s out there, but most of them are gone. But there's pressure on that 46.5. So a lot of bettors out there agreeing with Joe. I'm seeing some minus 115s out there as well. So someone is saying Tennessee, and I think that's another game to me where it looks odd, where Tennessee is the home team. The SEC dominated the ACC in week 1, but here they are against Pitt as a home dog.
Ooh.
That one is, right? Someone knows something. It's like... Joe's going in and
I
out.
swear, I scroll up and down these screens and I can never see them. What was the spread on that?
It was 2.
Okay.
Oh, here it is. It's at 12 noon, and now it's Tennessee plus 3. It opened at plus 2. It's rotation number 315 and 3.
Yeah, I would.
16.
You can get plus 3.5 on a couple books. I'd jump on that. I love that home dog there in this situation.
To me, it's one that I'm avoiding like no one's business. 76% of the bets, 83% of the money against the spread on Pitt in this game.
Oh, Tennessee all day long. Fade the public. Fade them. I'm going to parlay Tennessee money line and Iowa money line.
Joe's Tennessee against Bowling Green last week wasn't enough for her. She's got to go back to the well. The Vols over one. One of my favorite places to go to a game, Neyland Stadium, is really I think if you've never been to a college football game and you have a choice of a few stadiums, I would put Neyland like up there with the but the Vols haven't been good in a while. I know that, but Neyland is still it's an unbelievable place to watch a game. But if you're a beer drinker or something, they don't sell beer at the game, so you got to load up ahead of time.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of times at the state schools, they don't sell beer at the games. So like Ohio State, Tennessee, places like that, they don't sell beer.
Yeah, probably a good thing for college games. We saw the opener. What was it? The Rams and the Chargers fans that got into it in the preseason?
Yeah, I think it was them. But how about the who was it in the NBA playoffs? It was the Suns.
Oh, there's some idiot fans.
The Suns and the Nuggets, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, man. How about Arkansas taking on Texas? This is a game that you would think would take place in in Dallas Cowboy Stadium, Jerry World, but it's not. This one's at Arkansas. There's 7-point home dogs in this one. The line opened at 6 and has moved to 7. I'm still less than impressed with Texas, and I think that they still have quarterback issues there. And Steve Sarkisian, just not my guy. I don't know if it'll be a premium pick for me. So those of you that are watching, I'm not sure it'll be a premium pick for me. But I definitely have already bet the game, and I will probably bet it again.
I believe in the Longhorns, so this is a hard one for me. That 7 points, but they play such a hard and fast game. We saw Arkansas struggle defensively, I thought, in the last week.
Oh, they've been terrible. They've been just trash. But they did get the win last week, which is something.
But I don't think they should have. I thought from what we saw.
You're Brian.
Right, and it was against Bryce, right?
Yeah.
They played Bryce? Yeah. What I saw, I was like, how did they just win that? Right? They shouldn't have won it. So give me the Longhorns.
In the comments, Mike is talking about FIU -2 at home against Texas State. I'm with him here too. This line sailed right through 0. FIU opened as a 1-point home dog. They're now a 2-point home favorite in this game, a 3-point line swing through 0. And FIU, everyone knows I'm a huge Butch Davis fan, and I think I believe, and I've been watching college football my whole life, and it's always been my favorite sport. And Butch Davis is the greatest evaluator of talent in the history of the game. There's been better recruiters than Butch Davis. Butch Davis is a good recruiter, maybe not the best recruiter, but he is the best evaluator of talent of any coach, assistant coach, scout, anything like that in the history of college football. And his results speak for themselves because he took guys that nobody else even offered a scholarship to, and they're all in the NFL Hall of Fame now. He has a list. He probably recruited more NFL Hall of Famers over the last 25 years than all the rest combined, than everybody else combined. That's how good of a recruiter. You know, he took a guy like Warren Sapp, was a tight end in high school. Nobody offered him. He was like, this is a guy who probably played defensive tackle for us. He's just at the wrong position. Guy won the Super Bowl as Hall of Famer. You know, Jerome Brown, Edgerrin James was one of his guys. Ed Reed was one of his guys that nobody wanted. Nobody wanted Ed Reed. We'll take him. Yeah. He's ranked 45th in the state as at his position. It's like, we'll take a shot on him. Jonathan Vilma, the Butch Davis guy. You know, just it goes on and on and on. His guy, Clinton Portis, Butch Davis guy. I'm a big Butch Davis
guy. Like it. Someone was asking about Liberty before. What do you think about Liberty and Troy? Liberty is a 4.5 point favorite. You can actually get them 3.5 on. It's dropping. Troy is getting some more points to walk on this field. Totals drop.
Liberty has been one of the better teams recently. Hugh Freeze is one of the best recruiters. But the line is dropping with Troy was a 6-point home dog here. Now they're a 4-point home dog with 71% on Liberty. Let's take a look at the actual money moves here.
Yeah.
367. 367. Liberty, 68% of the bets, 29% of the money. So this is the true inverse line movement game right here, where 68% of the bets and 29% of the money, and the line moving exactly in sync with that. I like Liberty, but what you have so this is one of those games now. It's in that range where you have to say, was it at 6 that big money came in on Troy, and is it the same at 4, or are those 4s or those people that sold at 6 now buying at 4? So you have to kind of watch out for that in this situation. Have you missed the move? Have you missed the value? And that's what I always worry about with Brian on the shows when he's talking about, his money moves and everything like that. I'm like, you may have missed it, especially in the point spread sports. You may have missed it.
What do you think about getting Liberty at 3.5? Because there's one book I'm seeing FanDuel has it at 3.5
I'd buy the hook.
And then buy the hook.
I'd buy the hook. I'd buy the hook. If not, what the hell, I'd probably take Liberty and lay the extended line. I really like him in that spot. I like Hugh Freeze. I think he's one of the best coaches out there. I mean, college is a lot to do with recruiting. Has a ton to do with it. And Hugh Freeze is such a good recruiter. I mean, he's got thrown out of Ole Miss. It's like he's that good at it. It's like the best recruiters, end up on probation or thrown out. And that's what happens. That's like Butch Davis. It's like he gets rung up. And it's like the best recruiters end up on probation. That's for sure. Yeah, or the other guys that kind of can sneak in. But I'm kind of there with you on that one. I like Liberty. Mm-hmm. I just like I like what they're doing there as a program.
Yeah. So shop this line, you guys. It's different everywhere. I'm seeing 1 point difference between Circa and FanDuel. 4.5 at Circa, 3.5 at FanDuel. So if you have the option, shop the best one.
So let's move on so we can maybe get to the NFL eventually. I'm kind of dragging through these because I get so excited. Like every game, I'm kind of like, wow, it's like now this line has moved even from this morning.
Yeah.
So one of the games that I'm looking for, the night game, is Washington at Michigan. Washington was absolutely terrible in week 1. I mean, they were a real dumpster fire. And Michigan actually had a pretty impressive win against Western Michigan. This line was at 7 this morning. It's down to 6.5. Everyone knows that I live in a pretty nice house, and Jim Harbaugh's paid for most of it. Jim Mora Jr. paid for a good chunk of it. Jim Mora Jr. paid for the exterior landscaping, and my lanai and all of this rock work that we've had done outside our house. But Jim Harbaugh has really paid for like the meat and bones of my home. And I think that, while we don't have any big construction projects, left on tap for us, I still believe we could still make a pretty healthy living off of Jim Harbaugh. Maybe like, I don't know, send one of my nephews through college or something. And, these are those type of spots,
Yeah.
These are those type of spots, at least for me. I just can't get off Washington here, or maybe I can't get on Michigan. But to me, it just seems like one of those setup things where, you have Washington that lost 13-7 at home as a 22.5-point favorite to Montana last week. And then you have Michigan, who knocked off Western Michigan fairly easily, 47-14. And, everyone talking about, well, not everyone, but the general talk is that, Michigan has found a quarterback in McNamara. So I got to go with Washington here.
Okay. I could get behind Washington, 100%.
I don't know if it's getting behind Washington or just staying against Harbaugh, where it's just it's so comfortable for me. It's so easy. It's a natural thing.
So I'm just Alabama and Mercer. You see the huge favorite that Alabama is on this one? 53 points.
Mercer's an FCS team, so I'd be guessing that they won't be crossing the 50-yard line. But generally in these games, Nick Saban does take his foot off the gas. He's known for it.
Absolutely. Right? 53 and a half. Wow. That's crazy. That is higher than the total in some of these games. But if anyone can do it, it's Bama.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't see how Mercer gets on the board here. It's just a matter. But Nick Saban's known for taking his foot off the gas in these games. He's not Kirby Smart.
No. Okay, so look at this. We have 53 and a half, and we've only got a total of 58 and a half.
Yeah, that's that type of game.
Tells you a lot.
Yeah. That's that's the game.
Wow.
That is the game right there. I think Missouri has a chance.
In any universe, does Mercer come out and beat Alabama?
No chance.
Never happens.
No chance.
No chance.
No chance.
No chance.
Zero.
Bet your house on that.
Yes, that's one that you could, but you would probably still only win like $8. It's the odds are not there. I think one of the teams that has the best chance to pull the outright upset as a dog outside of Washington is Missouri against Kentucky, +5. I know that Joe didn't like Missouri last week. I know most of the guys on the show did not like Missouri. I like Missouri. I like Eli Drinkwitz. He's one of my guys, right, when it comes to head coaches. So I'm not a Stoops guy either, and that's what Kentucky has, and they've been underachieving. I like Missouri there.
Okay.
I think they have a chance for the outright upset. Anything left on the college card? Because we're going to go over it all again tomorrow. We can just briefly go over NFL too. But go ahead.
Yeah, let's talk some NFL.
Let's do it. If anyone has any college picks, NFL or whatever, be sure to smash the like button and then ask a question. In that order.
Yes.
Go to NFL.
Not the opposite.
So where we are in the NFL is the Texans still +3, the Bills still -6.5, the Panthers -4. Not a lot of movement since yesterday. The Titans -3, Washington -1, Bengals +3. The Lions now +8 against the 49ers. I know Joe really hates the Lions this week. Really?
I don't believe in golf. How can sorry, Jared Goff lovers, I don't believe in him. I don't think he's going to have anything. He's not going to show us anything this week. It's going to be a bad game for him. 49ers take it.
Someone's asking how we like the Browns with the points. Well, that was one that we have as one of our key plays on our Circa and Westgate tickets. Mm-hmm. We have that game on both of them. We have the Browns, and that line is now dropped to 5.5. Browns Chiefs.
Sweet. I love it.
We had it at 5. We also got the Patriots at -3. It was -3.5 at Circa, but only -3 at Westgate. And that's where the line, where I'm showing it now. The Giants +3. Okay. The Saints now 3.5 against the Packers. We have them at 4. So I'm not worried. And the Raiders are at 4. We have them at 4.5.
Yeah. I'm glad. Yeah, the Raiders are going to win that one.
Joe, do you like to get NFL games in early bets, or you wait till the last second?
You know what? For a game like the Baltimore Ravens, LA Raiders, where I absolutely know the underdog, and I like the money line, I'm going to get that in right away, because that movement, when we opened at 4.5, the money line was way higher than it is when it's dropped to, I'm seeing 3.5 on some boards. So when I like the dog on the money line, I'm getting that in as soon as possible.
Yeah, someone in the comments likes the Dolphins. I like the Patriots in that one, and I'm a Dolphin fan. If I'm a fan of any NFL team, I grew up in the stands of the Orange Bowl watching the Dolphins, and I just can't get behind them against the Patriots in New England because they never win there. They never win there. And I don't see anything that leads me to believe they will now.
No, not in New England. Belichick's not going to let that happen. If they were in Miami, yeah.
If it's in Miami, then I would take Miami. I do every single time on the show. And Bittler's usually on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put words in his mouth. We'll give him New England and New England Miami game in Miami. But that Saints game plus 3.5 against the Packers. I'm going to take a look at the big board in that one and see if it's just one spot or if it's across the board.
Packers. I swear I'm the worst at looking at these and finding which one I'm looking for.
Yeah, I'm not good
every other team.
I wear bifocals. There it is. Oh, so this game is kind of it's below the rest of the games and listed on its own. Oh no, that's Detroit.
Yeah, I see it now. Yeah. Yeah, I've got it here. I'm seeing 3.5s across the board everywhere.
Yeah, I'm not fine.
You pay less juice on some of them at -105 over -110, but still just seeing 3.5s. I'm seeing a dropping total, though. I'm getting 49.5s. Originally saw 50, 51.
So this game opened at 3, so it's still above that.
Yeah.
It's still above it. Anyone out there have any questions, any comments, anything you want to talk about? We have our NFL Pick'em Office Pool contest going on. I'll post the link in the description for that and in the comments. It's 100% free to enter, and it is cash prizes. It's one of those things that we just decided it as we were doing it. So it wasn't that well planned out, but at the same time, this could end up being something that's a lot of fun. And it's every week, depending on the type of participation that we have, I'll probably set it up like a scaled participation where as we get more people to enter, then X amount of entries equal X amount of money in the prize pool. So I'll put this in here as well. I just tweeted it. I didn't tweet it. I put it in the chat, and I'll put it again in the description of the video.
Alex is asking about the Cardinals and the Titans, the total in that one. He's liking the over. We've got an over that opened at 51.5. I'm seeing it's up to 54 in some places. If you like it, there's still 53.5s out there. I think that game could go over.
Do you think last night's game kind of showed us that maybe it isn't over NFL season and weekend? I mean, it was frighteningly over last night.
Yeah.
I mean, it was quick and decisively over. It was third quarter over type stuff. It wasn't like late garbage, 2-point conversion over. It was over.
I wish I had some of the graphs from when these lines moved over, because like this Titans game, it could have moved over based on that game last night, which then scares me as well. If they're just the books are moving them with lots of money coming on that over. I don't know. 54, I think, is getting a tiny bit high. I don't know. I'd take it over. I like Kyler Murray to get it over.
I think it goes over as well.
Yeah.
I think you have two pretty high-powered offenses. The Titans are loaded up now at wide receiver. got rid of Corey Davis, but they added Julio Jones and of course Derrick Henry. And yep, I think their defense is suspect.
Who from the Titans? J.J. Watt went there, correct?
No, Cardinals.
The Cardinals.
Yes.
Yeah. Who else went there? I'm drawing a blank off the top of my head that was with Tennessee.
Oh,
because they got a couple of Tennessee's defensive players.
To the Cardinals?
Yeah.
So the Cardinals got, offensively, they got A.J. Green from the Bengals. So, if he's healthy, he's one of the best. He's kind of is.
He absolutely is.
Same draft as Julio Jones. So they went, basically together. And Green went ahead of Jones in that draft.
Yeah. Okay, let's hit it over. I like it.
Yeah, I liked it over as well.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got a couple of ones. Cal TCU -11, under 48.5. I like the under in that one. Cal TCU for sure.
Mm-hmm. Vikings, Bengals.
Mr. Smith, any pick dogs in the comments? Shout me out. It's Friday.
Happy Friday, Mr. Smith.
There you go. Malcolm Butler, but he's not playing. I think he's out, Malcolm Butler. I think he's injured. Or he might have gotten cut.
Maybe.
The Ravens are going to smash Vegas. I don't think so.
Vegas. Okay. Vegas. Fans in the stands.
Yep.
In Vegas. It's like the opening night, you guys.
If there was a game this weekend in NFL, and I'm not a huge NFL person, but if there was a game in the NFL that I could go to, that would be the one for me. Would be the Vegas Ravens game. That one's going to be a great, good time.
Absolutely. I wish Vegas I could be crowd. There too. Yeah.
But thanks everyone for joining us. This show, a little bit of a work in progress here, but I like it. It's kind of like a laid back approach. Look through the thing. Maybe next week we'll add a little bit of structure and plan to it, even though it's not my strong point. Maybe Joe can help us with that. that would be your touch. I'm kind of all over the place, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I always love going through the card, and it certainly helps me, because I'm looking at things where, hey, maybe I didn't see this before, or maybe it's now at a number like that Troy Liberty game where it's like maybe we should be looking a little bit harder at it and seeing what's going on there, and that FIU game as well. I appreciate you guys pointing that out. FIU Texas State, because now I'm going to take a look at that one as well. So thanks everyone for joining us. Who is this woman? Wow, that's you don't even get a question mark. This is Joe Madden. She's the newest member of Pick Dogs.
I'm Matt.
She's just here to say hello to everyone. She doesn't have an opinion.
I am. I'm going to start turning these things in a minute. So there's prizes underneath.
Actually, she's been killing it since joining us with her picks. I didn't want to just, I don't add people for the sake of adding people because of, they're women or whatever like that. We don't have like a woman that just introduces or like cuts into our videos. Hey, use the discount code, something ridiculous like that. That's like all of a sudden they're talking and then they're wearing a different outfit and then they cut back to something else, right? It's like, it's lunacy, to do something like that. And it's not how we do things here. And, we might be unprofessional in everything else that we do, but we're dead serious when it comes to winning and to our product. And I think Joe's just a tremendous addition to our team, and I think you guys are really going to like her. So,
absolutely, thank you. I appreciate it. I just wanted to tell James, he's asking with what we're coming up with the line movements, if that will be sent by email or text. It will be a text format.
Is that how it is? So
yeah.
Joe's in charge of this thing. I'm going to be involved in it. It's going to start off with just Joe and I doing it. And it's going to be in-game bets and line movements. Because you guys know halftime's my jam, right? So we will, because I'm a game watcher, So that's why it is. People are just like, man, how do you always kill halftime? Because I'm a game watcher. Last night, not a great start for me, but we'll get them. We always do. I think last year was just ridiculous with the halftimes. Usually when we have a lot of games and a lot to work with, it makes it a lot easier. But you'll see. You'll be part of it. Anyways, we'll see everyone tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're a VIP member, we'll see you in about a half hour, 45 minutes, and go through tonight's games. I'll be giving out at least one of my premium picks. And I don't know, maybe we'll we'll beg Joe to set up her capper profile, and so you guys can get her best bets. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Have a winning night, and at worst case scenario, be sure to set your notifications 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Joe, myself, Brian, Rod, Chris Ruffalo will be with us, and Joe D'Amico are all scheduled to be on our show tomorrow. Sunday, we don't have the roster set, but there will be people there. I'll see you guys tomorrow or tonight. Have a great night, everyone. Joe, thanks again. And we'll see you guys later.